Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm finally here to do my Battle of the Skin Tint video. I have been working on this for quite a while because I have been taking notes. I have been using all of these. I have filmed cutaways of me applying these, what they look like freshly applied, what they look like with a full face of makeup. And I have chosen 5 skin tints to talk about. Now, what is a skin tint? I am sure there are going to be varying definitions of this depending on who you are and what your opinion is. But to me, a skin tint is the lightest base product there is. So there's like skin tints, and then there is tinted moisturizers, which have a little bit more coverage. And then you've got your full-blown foundations. Now, skin tint typically has some kind of skincare ingredients involved. Sometimes it has SPF, and really it is not meant to have coverage. Now there's one skin tint that I'm gonna talk about that actually does have coverage, but typically they are just to even out skin tone, add some glow most of the time to the skin, add some hydration if they have any skincare benefits. Depending on how much skincare you have on your face to begin with, might actually penetrate and do some good. I have more than just the 5 that I'm going to talk about. The new Chanel skin tint I'm saving for a separate video. And then there's also a newer Glow Skin Beauty skin tint that I believe I'm going to do in a separate video as well. They are building a barn on the other side of my house right now. Well, I mean, it's our barn, but it's on the other side of the house. And Zeus is very invested and has some serious FOMO going on. So he is probably going to be barking at certain intervals during this video. I know y'all don't care, but I wanted to preface by saying that. I will say for all of these days, all of the cutaways that you're gonna see, the only thing I changed up was my blush color. I used the same SPF. I used my Elta MD SPF 44 under all of these. I used the same powder, my Perez powder, my MAC Studio Fix powder foundation for bronzer, and a Clinique highlighter. So I will link all of those below. I have some different products on my face today, which I will also link, but I wanted to have that be consistent throughout the day. The only things that changed were my eyeshadow and my blush, because I feel like that helps really compare how they truly look on the skin, because if I were to use all different products, you wouldn't know what was actually changing it. So hopefully that helps you in determining which one you like the best, which one you might want to try out for consistency's sake of all the rest of the products. All right, let's start off in no particular order. And at the very end, I will tell you which one or ones are my favorite, because there are a couple that stood out against the rest. If I have any kind of separate video, whether it be a full review or a video where I'm using this in part of a tutorial or get ready with me, I will put it up in a card. The first one is the one that I have had the longest, and this is from Calirae. This is the Free Dreaming Skin Wellness Diffusing Tint. This comes in 10 shades. Now, I will say skin tints across the board do not have near as many shade options as a tinted moisturizer or a foundation will, because they are very sheer, which means they can be very forgiving, which means that one shade within the skin tint family can actually cover a multitude of shades of skin. So there isn't necessarily a reason to have an overabundance of shades. This one does have the most out of all the ones that I'm going to talk about. In 10 shades. It's $39, and it comes in the typical 1 ounce, which this is typical for foundation. A lot of times skin tints will be a little bit more product than a foundation, but this one does only have 1 ounce. I'm gonna cut away to me using this, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that out of all of the ones that I have used or are using in this video, this one definitely has the most amount of coverage. This is a light to medium. I do feel like you can build it up a little bit to almost a medium coverage product. So it's definitely not sheer like a lot of skin tints. I like to apply this with a brush, as I do most of these products. And this has some prickly pear extract, vitamin C and E, jojoba oil. It is a natural finish, and it is the least glowy finish out of all the ones that I'm going to talk about. If you can see, I do feel like it is a natural finish. It just kind of takes on the skin that's underneath it. It is vegan, gluten-free, cruelty-free, and comes in recyclable packaging. It has 94.5% natural origin ingredients. I love this one. I feel like it lasts a very long time on my skin. In the cutaway, if you noticed, I forgot to come on camera with a corrector that day, and I realized it as I was applying it. So instead of stopping the camera and putting a separate corrector on, I just used this under my eyes as kind of a base corrector for my concealer, and it worked great. It gave just the amount of coverage that I like to get from a corrector. The shade, which I'm in 6, a medium light shade, worked great for my under eyes as well. Love this so much. And out of all of the ones I'm going to talk about, I do think this is better suited for all skin types. I feel like if you have dry skin, you're going to like this, but I also think that combo and oily skin could get away with using this. Definitely more so than some of the other ones I'm going to talk about. All right, let's move on to the second one. This is the Say Slip Tint. This is a broad spectrum SPF 35 sunscreen tinted moisturizer. Now I know it says tinted moisturizer, but I personally believe this is more suited to the skin tint category. So I just chose to use it in this video. This one does have the SPF 35, whereas the Calirae didn't have any SPF at all. And I lied and said Calirae had the most color options. That's not true. Say does. This has 14 shades. This is $35. And this one is in the category of having more product. So this has 1.35 ounces of product versus just the 1 ounce like a typical foundation and the Calirae. Now I'm going to cut away and you're going to see I like to apply this with a brush. You definitely could apply this with your hands. Out of all the ones I'm going to talk about, I feel like this one is the only one that I would use as a separate SPF. I could definitely go in with my hands without having any SPF underneath and use this alone. It has enough SPF in my opinion. I can use enough product on my face without it looking too much to get the SPF coverage that I need. It is very, very, very dewy. I don't think if you have oily skin, possibly even combo skin, that you're going to love this. This is definitely a sheer coverage. I can still see my redness through it. Once I apply the rest of my makeup, I feel like it looks fine. But if you are wearing this by itself, it's not going to give coverage. It's just going to even out the skin tone. So you do want to make sure you get something close to your skin tone. I am in the shade 3.5. And then at the end, if you saw in the cutaway, I like to take my hands and warm them up and then just press them into my face. What this does, it gets any excess product off. If I was using this just by itself as an SPF, I probably would not do this step because I want to make sure I have as much SPF on as possible. But I had a separate one on underneath for this particular day. And so I just like to warm it up, press it into my skin, but also get any excess product off so it's not too cakey. I love how this looks throughout the day. I find it lasts all day, but out of all of the ones I'm going to talk about, this is probably the least lasting. Now, that doesn't mean it still didn't last all day. It means that by the end of the day, it looked a little more broken down than all of the other ones, but not enough for me to worry about not using it as a skin tint because I really do enjoy it. I just have to make sure I want something pretty dewy. So that's the Say Slip Tint Broad Spectrum SPF 35 Tinted Moisturizer. Let's move on to the one I am wearing today. And I think it's funny because I use this in a playing with new makeup video and I didn't preface in the video like I should have that I was fully aware that I was not using this as it was intended to be used. But that's okay because it's how I like to use it. This is the Makeup by Mario Softsculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. Now this comes in 6 shades and it is Softsculpt, truly meant to be used as a very sheer sculpting product, some kind of bronzer. I personally like to wear this all over. I am in the shade Light. And you can see in the cutaway, I just stick my brush directly into the product and stipple it onto my skin. It does not provide much coverage at all, but to me, it's not as sheer as the Say. It is dewy, but it's not as dewy. And what I like most about this is that it warms up my complexion, evens out my skin tone really well, and has a very nice blurring effect to it. There's something about this that really blurs my skin out and looks wonderful all over the face. Now, yes, you can just use this as a bronzer as it was intended to be used, but I like to share different ways to use products, and that is definitely a different way that I like to use this. I have yet to use it as a bronzer. It's a little too light to be used as a bronzer on my skin anyways. I specifically picked this color to use as an all over base and I love it. Again, it's what I have on today and it just is so gorgeous. It is like a filter for the skin. I cannot recommend this enough as a base, as a skin tint. So this one is a little bit of a cheat because it is not marketed as a skin tint, but that's how I use it. So I definitely wanted to include it in this video because I just think it's absolutely gorgeous on the skin. It has vitamins A, D, and E, omega-6 fatty acids. It does say a 3-in-1 tinted complexion balm that warms and nourishes with sheer coverage to even out the appearance of skin tone. And I really just feel like that's what this does. It doesn't just even it out though, it just makes it look so good. Okay, the next one I'm gonna talk about is the newly reformulated Beauty Counter Dew Skin. This retails for $50 and it comes in 8 shades and it is also 1.35 fluid ounces like the Say. I didn't mention on the Makeup by Mario. This is 5 grams. And it's a little, it's hard to compare because it's a cream and not a liquid. So this says 1 bottle, 4 benefits. It's a multitasking, they say tinted moisturizer. I'm saying a skin tint. Blurs the line between makeup and skincare. Sheer, lightweight coverage, helps to create a more even looking skin tone. It has SPF 20. It has black currant seed oil, peony root extract, and vitamin C, which over time helps the skin firmer and look more luminous. This also is very, very, very dewy. It's along the same lines as the Say, but I still love it. And this one is one of those ones that kind of transforms onto my skin or on my skin as the day goes on. You will see in the cutaway, I apply it with a brush. This is not one that I would use separate as an SPF because it does not have enough SPF in it for my taste. SPF 20 is not enough for me. So I always use this on top of another SPF. And I just stipple it in with a brush. And then at the very end, I will take a dry beauty blender and press it on my face to absorb any of that excess product. Kind of the same thing as rubbing my hands together and doing it with the Say. You could do the same thing. I just feel like it helps remove excess product. This is a little too thick for me to even think about wearing it as an only SPF, even if it were higher than 20. And that's another reason I like to apply it with a brush. But I'm gonna tell you, this is gorgeous on the skin. Again, it is very dewy, but you'll be able to see at the end when I finish my makeup, you can matte any of these down. But this, like I said, as the day goes on, looks better and better and better on my skin. And I feel like out of all the ones that I'm gonna talk about, I can only say that about this. The other ones look great on my skin, but they look the same as they did when I first applied. This looks good when I apply and it looks better throughout the day. I really, really love this. I just don't recommend it as your only SPF, but if you're wanting to have it as a super dewy, beautiful, radiant skin tint, I really, really like this new formulation. I like the new packaging. I do kind of like the old packaging a little bit better because it had a pump, but this one is definitely more compact and better for travel and space purposes. All right, let's talk about the last one on the list. And this is one that I haven't talked about before, but it definitely needs some recognition. This is the new Chantecaille Anti-Aging Face Tint. So this comes in 1 shade, and when I first opened it, they did send this to me. When I first opened it, I was like, oh yeah, that ain't gonna work. That's not gonna work. Now, I know you can do lots of different things with this. You can mix it with your moisturizer. I would not recommend mixing it with your SPF because I don't think anything extra needs to be added into an SPF so that you don't mess up any of those factors. But you could definitely mix it in with a moisturizer. You could mix it in with something that's too light, a foundation that is too light to darken it up a little bit. You can use it separately as a cream bronzer. I have been using this all over, and you'll see in the cutaway that it is extremely dark as I apply it. But there's something about this that transforms on the skin and really works for the skin tone. And by the end of the application and once I had finished my makeup, it looked so good. It is a little bit radiant, but I don't feel like it's as dewy as some of the other ones I've talked about. It is a gel cream. It's very similar in texture to the Future Skin Gel Foundation. So if you have that, this is definitely similar to that in texture and application. Really, it's meant to create a fresh, healthy, and sun-kissed look no matter how you want to use it. There's a couple of ways that they suggest on the Chantecaille website to use this. Apply as a bronzer, basically, to sculpt out your look. Blend 2 drops of Radiance Elixir from Chantecaille with 3 drops of anti-aging face tint. Sweep over the high planes of the face for an instant lit from within bronze glow. Or blend 2 drops with your foundation to create depth and warmth. Or you can do it like me and use it by yourself. When I first used this, I was pretty scared because I was like, yeah, it's just too dark. So I made sure it was a day that I did not have anything that I had to do. There wasn't a necessity for me to leave the house, but I ended up loving it. And I honestly can't recommend this enough. It has all the good botanicals that Chantecaille is known for. You can definitely look up and see what all there is in it and the benefits for your skin. But this one is the most skincare-like out of all the ones that I've talked about. I feel like this is basically a tinted skincare product, as it is marketed to be, but I actually feel like that claim works. So the anti-aging face tint, can't get enough of it, love it so much. I personally would say I have 2 favorites out of all of these, and while I love all of them, because I have been using them nonstop the past month and a half, I would say the Chantecaille Anti-Aging Face Tint and the Softsculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer are my 2 favorite of the bunch. Just really something to look into if you like a very sheer, even skin tone, perfect for summer, although they're so moisturizing, they could definitely be used in the winter. And I feel that I'm going to use them quite a bit when the weather gets colder and my skin gets drier, but it's just easy. It's kind of no fuss makeup. So hopefully that was a helpful rundown of some of the skin tints that I have been trying lately. And I will be testing the other ones out in future videos, so don't miss out on those. Be sure you are subscribed to my channel with a notification bell on so that you don't miss on those videos. And I will have everything that I've talked about listed and linked down below for easy access. I do use affiliate links, so thank you if you choose to use those. I hope you're all staying happy and healthy and safe, and that most of all, you go out and have a very blessed day.